Hi everyone, welcome back to this short tutorial from Pathology Made Simple at ILovePathology.com. In continuation with the series on vasculitis, so far we have learned large vessel vasculitis and medium vessel vasculitis. So in this session, let's try to understand the concepts behind small vessel vasculitis. Particularly, we will try to see the classification of small vessel vasculitis. So, what is small vessel vasculitis? Basically, it's inflammation of the blood vessels which affects capillaries, venules, arterioles, and small intraparenchymal arteries. Though the name says small vessel vasculitis, sometimes medium vessels may also be involved. So how do you categorize, or what are the two different types of small vessel vasculitis based on the pathogenic mechanism? One is immune complex vasculitis. Another one is ANCA-associated vasculitis, anti-neutrophil cytoplasmic antibody associated vasculitis. See, the immune complex vasculitis, where the antibodies are deposited within the vessel wall, where the complement activation is prominent here. Immune deposits are visible in case of immune complex vasculitis. Whereas ANCA associated vasculitis, antibodies, they activate the neutrophils. The activation of neutrophil is the predominant feature in ANCA associated vasculitis. You don't find immune complex that much as you see in immune complex vasculitis, and therefore it is called as Pauci-immune kind of vasculitis, right? So this is Pauci-immune, that is the immune deposits are in surplus, immune deposits are visible. So, what is the mechanism of immune complex vasculitis? Basically, this is a type 3 hypersensitivity where you have antigen plus antibody, which leads to the formation of immune complexes, right? And this immune complex is now deposited in the vessel wall, leading on to the activation of complements, and thereby the neutrophils are recruited. And once the neutrophils are recruited, obviously there will be vessel damage, right? So this is a mechanism of immune complex mediated vasculitis. Now let us see the different types of immune complex vasculitis. What are the different categories? It could be, examples of immune complex vasculitis. One is drug-induced vasculitis. The second one is vasculitis associated with infection. Third one being autoimmune diseases where you have vasculitis. The fourth one is IgA vasculitis, cryoglobulinemic vasculitis, and finally we also have anti-GBM disease. All these are examples of small vessel vasculitis, the underlying pathogenic mechanism being deposition of immune complexes. Right. So let us see these one by one. The drug-induced vasculitis, where basically whatever drug that particular drug acts as happen, there is immune complex formation. And drug induced vasculitis, most common manifestations are in the skin manifestations. Or skin lesions are pretty common. Example of the drugs which can cause vasculitis are the penicillin and streptokinase. Infection associated vasculitis, where the microbial antigen antibody complexes, they get deposited in the vessels. Example, hepatitis B associated polyarteritis nodosa. That's an example of infection associated vasculitis, where HPSAG plus anti-HPSAG, they form the immune complexes. Autoimmune disease, where autoantibody mediated immune complexes are formed. And the most common example of autoimmune diseases, due to immune complex vasculitis, are the systemic lupus erythematosus, the rheumatoid arthritis, and antiphospholipid syndrome. IgA vasculitis, it was earlier called as Henoch-Schönlein purpura, where immunoglobulin against abnormal immunoglobulin A, IgG, is there against abnormal IgA, which forms immune complexes leading on to vasculitis. Cryoglobulinemic vasculitis, where basically the cryoglobin immune deposits which precipitate at temperatures less than 37 degree centigrade. And the last one is the anti-glomerular basement membrane disease, anti-GBM disease, where which also referred to as Goodpasture's disease, where antibodies are directly binding to the basement membrane. Okay, this particular disease is involving both the lung respiratory system as well as the renal system, leading on to damage to the pulmonary capillaries as well as glomerular capillaries, right? And remember, all immune complex vasculitis are referred to as wet vasculitis. You know the reason? Because the vessels contain immunoglobulins, complement deposits, and immune complexes where immunofluorescence test, it is often positive, and that's why it's called as wet vasculitis. Now, moving on to ANCA-associated vasculitis, where we know that it is a Pauci-immune kind of vasculitis because you don't find immune complexes here, right? Very little immune complex deposition, if at all, and the autoantibodies are directed against the granules of neutrophils, right? The lysosomes of the monocytes. And the mechanism is very simple here. The ANCA formation, anti-neutrophilic cytoplasmic antibody formation, leads to binding. I mean, this anti-neutrophilic cytoplasmic antibody, it helps in binding to the neutrophil where the neutrophils are activated. Right, so the formed ANCA bind to the neutrophils, leading on to activation of neutrophil. And once the neutrophils are activated, remember the reactive oxygen species are being released. Proteases are being released and leading on to injury to the endothelium. And obviously, and that is your vessel damage, right? So it is called Pauci-immune vasculitis because the injury occurs mainly by the activated neutrophils and it is not by the deposited immune complexes, just like what you saw, unlike what you saw in immune complex vasculitis. I hope you understood the concept between immune complex vasculitis and ANCA-associated vasculitis. Let's look into the types of anti-neutrophilic cytoplasmic antibodies. One is antibody. It's also called as proteinase 3, where the antigen is proteinase 3. The earlier name for this PR3 ANCA was c-ANCA. Okay. The associated disease, remember, granulomatosis with polyangiitis. I will be explaining in detail about these three vasculitis in my next session. Remember, as of now, the second type is MPO-ANCA, where the antigen is MPO, which is myeloperoxidase. Earlier, it was referred to as p-ANCA. Now, it is called as MPO-ANCA, right? MPO-ANCA. And the prototype for MPO-ANCA associated vasculitis is microscopic polyangiitis. The second one is eosinophilic granulomatosis with polyangiitis. Remember these three entities: GPA, MPA, and EGPA, right? Eosinophilic granulomatosis with polyangiitis. Now, why do you think ANCAs are important? Anti-neutrophilic cytoplasmic antibodies. Why are they important? One, because they are pathogenic. You know that they can cause vasculitis. And second one, they are useful for the laboratory diagnosis of ANCA associated vasculitis. It can be used to monitor the disease progress, where the titers, they correlate with the activity of the disease. And lastly, it can also predict recurrence. When you see rising titers of ANCAs, it will almost always suggest that there is a relapse, right? That's why you need to understand the concepts behind anti-neutrophilic cytoplasmic antibodies. So finally, we'll just have a difference between, I'd like try to differentiate between immune complex vasculitis and ANCA vasculitis, where the main mechanism, as you all learned by now, that the main mechanism is immune complex deposition, whereas ANC-associated vasculitis, it is neutrophilic activation. The immunoglobulin deposits are present, and here in ANC-associated vasculitis, it is minimal, and that is why it is called as Pauci-immune vasculitis. Complement activation is more prominent in immune complex vasculitis, and immunofluorescent findings are positive in immune complex vasculitis, and that is why it's also referred to as wet vasculitis, right? Example is type 3 hypersensitivity. The type of hypersensitivity is type 3, whereas this one is autoantibody mediated. Examples, you have learned a lot of examples, right? The drug-induced, SLE, IgA vasculitis, and so on. Whereas ANCA vasculitis, there are only three important ones which you should know. One is GPA, MPA, and EGPA. So how small vessel vasculitis manifest? Because small vessels are there everywhere. Manifestation is throughout. The patient can be seen with lots of purpuric rashes, skin purpura, the glomerulonephritis, the pulmonary hemorrhage, the neuropathy, GA symptoms. Name any organ, you can have manifestations related to that particular organ, right? So finally, just about what all we have studied so far. Small vessel vasculitis categorized into immune complex vasculitis based on the pathogenic mechanism, and ANCA-associated vasculitis. You have multiple different examples for immune complex vasculitis, starting from drug-induced to anti-GBM disease, whereas ANCA-associated, only two types of ANCAs. One is MPO, another is PR3, that is proteinase 3. MPO was earlier referred to as p-ANCA, and proteinase C was referred to as c-ANCA. Example for that disease is granulomatosis with polyangiitis. And the other two are MPA, microscopic polyangiitis, and EGPA, eosinophilic granulomatosis with polyangiitis. So, with this, I think I have completed the topic on vasculitis, a very short topic where we tried to understand the concept behind the classification of, type uh, small vessel vasculitis and also the pathogenic mechanisms. So, just remember the small vessel vasculitis occurs mainly by two mechanisms. One is immune complex vasculitis, another is ANCA vasculitis. Immune complex shows antibody deposition. ANCA is usually Pauci-immune and activate neutrophil, right? So with that, I complete the topic on small vessel vasculitis. Let's try to learn more about these three types of small vessel vasculitis, particularly the ANC-associated vasculitis, in my next session. Till then, stay tuned. If you have liked this video, please consider subscribing if you've not yet subscribed, and please do share with your friends so that they also learn few things. Thank you.